August 15, 1940. New York, Presbyterian Hospital. 1900 hours. Dr. Charles Richard Drew, 37, surgeon and blood researcher, received an urgent transatlantic call. Britain was bleeding. The Blitz had begun. Luftwaffe bombers pounded London every night. Thousands of civilians wounded. Thousands more expected. British hospitals ran out of blood. Transfusions saved lives, but whole blood lasted days. Spoiled quickly, couldn't be shipped across Atlantic. The caller, Dr. John Beatty of Royal College of Surgeons. Dr. Drew, we need blood. Can you help? Drew knew whole blood wouldn't work. 5-day maximum storage. 7 days crossing the Atlantic. Blood would be useless on arrival. But Drew had spent 3 years researching something else. Blood plasma, the liquid portion, without red cells. Could be stored for weeks, even months. I can't send you blood, but I can send you something better. What happened in the next 5 months would create the world's first mass blood banking system, would save thousands of lives in Britain, hundreds of thousands in American military service, and would prove that sometimes the most powerful weapon isn't built to destroy. It's built to preserve. Blood transfusion was medical miracle, but limited miracle, whole blood transfusion, discovered 1901. Dr. Karl Landsteiner identified blood types. AB, AB, O, found that mismatched blood caused deadly reactions. Matching donor to recipient worked, but created problem: how to store blood. Early method: direct transfusion. Connect donor's vein to recipient's vein. Immediate transfer. No storage. Problem: needed donor present at moment of need. In emergency, often unavailable. 1930s. Researchers learned that adding sodium citrate prevented clotting. Blood could be stored in bottles, refrigerated, lasted 5 to 7 days. Revolutionary advancement, but still limited. Whole blood required refrigeration, needed careful handling, broke down quickly, couldn't be shipped long distances, couldn't be stockpiled, and required blood type matching, type A to type A, type B to type B. Creating inventory problem, Charles Drew saw different possibility. Drew's background: born Washington, D.C., 1904. African American. Attended Amherst College on football scholarship. Outstanding athlete. Better student medical school at McGill University, Montreal. Graduated 1933, second in his class. Residency at Montreal General Hospital. During residency, Drew became fascinated by blood chemistry, treatment of shock, fluid replacement. Noticed that plasma worked differently than whole blood. Plasma, the liquid portion of blood, remains after red cells, white cells, and platelets are removed. Contains proteins, clotting factors, antibodies, but no cells. Key discovery: plasma doesn't have blood type antigens. Type A plasma can go to type B patient. Type O plasma can go to type AB patient. Universal compatibility. 1938. Drew received Rockefeller Fellowship. Studied at Columbia University. New York Presbyterian Hospital. His research question: can plasma be stored longer than whole blood? Can it be mass-produced? Can it be used in battlefield conditions? Drew's dissertation, 1940. Banked blood: a study in blood preservation. Conclusion: plasma could be stored for months. Dried plasma could be stored for years. Plasma could be shipped without refrigeration. Could be reconstituted with sterile water. Used anywhere. Drew became first African American to earn doctorate in medical science from Columbia. June 1940. 2 months later. Britain needed blood. August 1940. Blood for Britain program launched. American Red Cross and National Research Council joint effort medical director position needed someone who understood blood chemistry, preservation techniques, organizational logistics, and mass production. Only one candidate fit: Charles Drew. Drew accepted. August 15, 1940. Immediately faced problems. Problem 1: hospitals collected blood using different methods, different anticoagulants, different storage containers, Different temperatures. Inconsistent quality. Drew's solution. Standardized protocol. Every participating hospital used identical procedure. Same anticoagulant ratio. Same storage temperature. Same testing protocol. Problem 2. Whole blood wouldn't survive Atlantic crossing. 7-day voyage. Blood lasted 5 days maximum. Drew's solution. Convert to plasma. Separate red cells. Keep only plasma. Bottle in 1-liter glass containers. 6 bottles per wooden case. Problem 3. Scale. Britain needed thousands of units. Weekly Drew's solution. Organized collection centers across New York. Presbyterian Hospital. Columbia University. Bellevue. Multiple sites collecting simultaneously. Created mobile blood donation stations. Brought equipment to donors instead of bringing donors to hospitals. Called them blood mobiles. First in medical history. Collection began September 1940. Process. Donor gave blood. Taken to processing center. Centrifuge to separate plasma from cells. Plasma bottled. Tested for contamination. Packaged. Shipped to Britain via Red Cross. First shipment, October 1940. 1,500 units of plasma. British doctors skeptical. Will this actually work? We've never used separated plasma on this scale. First test, October 15th, air raid casualties. Westminster Hospital. Dr. Janet Vaughan, British hematologist, administered plasma to shock victims. Wrote in report, plasma effective in treating traumatic shock. Patients responded within minutes. As effective as whole blood for shock treatment. Far more practical for field use. Word spread through British medical community. Plasma worked, requests increased. Britain wanted more. Much more. Drew scaled up. Added hospitals in Philadelphia, Baltimore, Boston. Coordinated collection across Eastern Seaboard November 1940. 2,000 units shipped. December 1940. 3,500 units shipped. January 1941. 5,000 units shipped. Blood for Britain program. August 1940 to January 1941. Total blood donations collected. 14,566 units. Total plasma shipped to Britain. 5,000 liters. British casualties treated. Estimated 15,000 civilians and military. Personnel program ended January 1941. Britain established its own collection system using Drew's protocols January 1941. American Red Cross asked Drew, would he direct American blood bank program? United States wasn't in the war yet, but preparing. Drew accepted. Assistant Director, National Blood Bank. February 1941. Mission: create national blood donation and banking system. Produce dried plasma kits for military. Establish standards. Train personnel. Drew implemented same protocols used for Britain. Standard procedures. Mobile collection. Centralized processing. Quality testing. Added new element. Dried plasma. Plasma frozen. Freeze-dried. Reduced to powder. Could be stored for years. Reconstituted with sterile water when needed. Developed field kit. Dried plasma powder. Sterile water bottle, tubing, needle. Everything medic needed in waterproof package. Weight, 2 pounds. Shelf life, 5 years. Could save a life. By April 1941, system was working. Donations increasing. Production efficient. Quality consistent. Then the problem arose. April 1941. American Red Cross issued new policy. Blood donations would be segregated by race. African American blood stored separately, labeled separately, used only for African American recipients. Official policy statement: not biologically necessary but psychologically important to American military personnel. Charles Drew, African American, was directing program that now segregated blood by donor race. Drew, private letter to colleague. There is no scientific basis for this. Blood types matter. Race doesn't. This is insulting to donors and medically irrelevant. April 1941. Charles Drew resigned from National Blood Bank, made no public statement at the time. Quietly left. Returned to Howard University. Became chief of surgery at Freedman's Hospital. 1944, Drew wrote letter to Labor Standards Association about the segregation policy. Army made grievous mistake. Wrong for 3 reasons. 1. Federal government shouldn't humiliate citizens. 2. No scientific basis. 3. They need the blood. Drew's departure didn't stop the program. System he designed continued. Saved thousands of American lives during World War II. But his legacy was already established. Drew proved plasma banking worked. Created methodology used by every military in the world. Howard University, 1941 to 1950. Drew focused on surgical training, mentoring residents, raising standards in African American medical education. His mission: train excellent surgeons, fight exclusion of black physicians from medical societies, change the profession from within. 1946, Drew became first African American appointed examiner for American Board of Surgery. His surgical residents passed certification exams at higher rates than national average. Between 1941 and 1950, Drew trained more than half of all certified African American surgeons. He often paid out of his own pocket for students to attend conferences, present research, gain recognition. Drew, to his residents, "Your excellence is your weapon against discrimination. Be so good they cannot ignore you." April 1, 1950. Drew driving from Washington, D.C. to Tuskegee, Alabama. Annual medical conference. 3 colleagues with him. Near Burlington, North Carolina, accident. Drew was driving. Fell asleep. Car ran off-road. 3 colleagues survived. Drew critically injured. Nearest hospital, Alamance General, did everything possible. But no blood bank on site. Internal bleeding too severe. Charles Drew, who created the world's modern blood banking system, died because the local hospital couldn't access banked blood. He was 45 years old. Myth later spread that Drew was refused treatment because of his race. Died outside whites-only hospital. This was false. Hospital records show he received full treatment. Injuries were simply too severe. But the irony remained. The man who made blood banking possible died where blood wasn't available. Drew's legacy transformed military medicine. World War II. American military used 13 million units of dried plasma, treated hundreds of thousands of casualties. Survival rate for wounded who received plasma, 97% in Korea. Whole blood used in addition to plasma. Mobile Army surgical hospitals. Helicopters delivered fresh blood. Drew's preservation techniques made it possible. Vietnam. Blood banking standard practice. Field transfusions routine. Survival rate for wounded, 98%. Today, every hospital has blood bank. Every ambulance carries plasma. Every military medic has dried plasma kits, all based on Drew's protocols. Military medical officers study Drew in training, not just his techniques, his philosophy. Drew's principle: excellence of performance transcends artificial barriers of race. Modern blood banking, no racial segregation. Blood typed only by medical factors, AB, ABO, Rh positive or negative. Nothing else matters. There's a medical center named for Charles Drew. Charles R. Drew University of Medicine and Science, Los Angeles, founded 1966. Mission: train physicians to serve underserved communities. Continue Drew's legacy of excellence and service. Students there learn Drew's story, his innovations, his principles, his refusal to accept that social barriers should limit medical care. The Red Cross maintains records of blood for Britain. Display at their headquarters. Shows Drew's original protocols. Photographs of mobile collection units. Testimonials from British doctors. One testimonial, Dr. Janet Vaughan, 1942. American plasma saved thousands of British lives. Dr. Drew's system was elegant in its simplicity and devastating in its effectiveness. Today, blood donation is routine, universal, available everywhere. We forget it wasn't always so. Forget someone had to invent the system, the standardization, the preservation, the mass production. Charles Drew didn't invent blood transfusion, didn't discover blood types, didn't create plasma. He invented the belief that blood could be banked, stored, shipped, made available when needed, not just for the rich or the nearby, for everyone, everywhere. And he proved that medical excellence could challenge social injustice, not through protest alone, through being so excellent that the system had to adopt his innovations even while discriminating against him. Next time you see blood donation drive, remember, someone organized that system, made it possible, made it standard. Remember the surgeon who walked away from prestigious position rather than accept unscientific discrimination. Remember that sometimes the most powerful legacy isn't what you build, it's what you refuse to compromise. Charles Drew built a system that saved millions, but he built it on principle that excellence matters more than prejudice. And every life saved by banked blood proves he was right.